Hey guys, I'm going to do a video real quick. This one for UFC 293. We're going to start off with Tyson Pedro against Anton Turkalj. Tyson Pedro is the more well-rounded fighter. He lost his last fight, but he has shown he probably does have the ground advantage in this fight, especially considering that Anton Turkalj has only a 16% takedown defense rate. So I think Tyson Pedro is for sure going to take this one to the ground. I think he'll be able to grind out a decision if he wants to just go for takedown after takedown after takedown. And I don't think Turkalj is going to be able to get up very easily. Turkalj's only had 2 fights inside the UFC and he's lost both of them. He's definitely going to want to strike, but I think Tyson Pedro might have the advantage there as well, along with a power advantage. So I'm taking Tyson Pedro on this one. And moving on, we've got Felipe dos Santos against Manel Kape. Kape has got some momentum on his side recently. Out of the 5 fights that he's had inside of the UFC, he has gone 3-2, but the last 3 fights were all the wins that he's gotten so far. But the only 2 losses he's got in the UFC so far are to Alexander Pantoja, the current flyweight champion, and Mateusz Nicolau, both really good competition at the flyweight division. And he's got wins over Ode Osborne, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and David Dvorak. Kape can get pretty wild. I think he's probably going to be the smarter fighter in this one, although every now and then he does like to try to get a flashy finish. Normally he'll rock his opponents and try to go for something really flashy, a big knee, something spinning, something like that. And every time he gets taken to the ground, he will almost always immediately, the main objective for him is to get back on his feet. So he definitely prefers to stand in the cage. And Felipe dos Santos, I think, is going to have big problems. While he is undefeated, he does tend to get quite aggressive, quite wild. He'll throw a lot of up kicks, a lot of knees. And while he has shown to be a pretty good striker, he's also shown that he'll get a bit too aggressive or too wild to the point where he'll put himself in bad positions. You see him slip up every now and then. Sometimes he'll just flat out lose his balance and fall down. He has decent takedowns, but whenever it comes to being on top of his opponent, he does have a problem staying on top and keeping them on the ground. And he's pretty durable. He seems pretty well-rounded as well, but there are a lot of mistakes that he makes throughout his fights. For example, whenever he tries to get a submission, he's normally like a submission over position type of guy, and normally you need to be position over submission. You get them in the spot first, you can keep attacking for submissions from there. But he likes to go for the submission before he's even in the right position to quite lock it up appropriately to finish a fight. And with Felipe dos Santos, I think he just makes too many mistakes. I will be taking Manel Kape in this one. Now on to Justin Tafa against Austin Lane. Austin Lane is a former Jacksonville Jaguar. Not a short stint with the Jaguars either. He's a really good athlete. He was in the NFL for, I don't know exactly how long, but long enough to consider himself an actual former player. He is going to be the bigger guy in both height and reach against Tafa, and he may have the grappling advantage if he can get Tafa to the ground, but Tafa has never been taken down in his career. And on top of that, Austin Lane is on a 6-fight winning streak with a 100% finish rate in all of the wins that he's gotten so far in his MMA career. Now, Tafa has won his last 2 fights. He's also got a 100% finish rate with a lot of knockout power as well. He's definitely going to prefer to be on his feet for this fight. And I think Tafa is the favorite to win this fight on betting lines everywhere. But this one's going to be a really interesting one. This is the second time these two have fought. The last time they fought, it was a 30-second eye poke. Justin Tafa was bleeding from his eye, is how bad it was. So they stopped the fight. It was a no contest, and now they're going to fight again right here. If Austin Lane can probably get him to the ground, then maybe he has a chance of winning a decision, or maybe by ground and pound. But like I said, Tafa's never been taken down, and I think not only does he have good takedown defense, but he's also got a lot of power in those hands that make his opponents really weary of trying to get in close to get the takedown. But also, Austin Lane does tend to put a bit too much power into his strikes from what I've seen. And I think, he's going to probably crash into Tafa, and Tafa's probably going to catch him. So for this fight, I'm going to take Justin Tafa. And on to the co-main event, we've got Tai Tuivasa against Alexander Volkov. This one's going to be an exciting one because there's always the chance that Tai Tuivasa just swing and bangs with him is ending up with getting a knockout or something along those lines. But Volkov will have a reach advantage along with a height advantage, and we could see Volkov take a similar approach to this fight like he did when he fought Derek Lewis. If you remember, Derek Lewis was losing every round of that fight until he finally caught Volkov in that 3rd round, which could very well happen in this fight as well. But I think Volkov is going to use that range, definitely want to keep him at a distance so he can just pick him apart with the jab, some leg kicks, maybe some body kicks. But if Tai Tuivasa can get in close, he's got the knockout power to be able to put Volkov down just like Derek Lewis did. And obviously Tai Tuivasa has a lot of heart. He prefers to swing and bang with people. He just likes to have fun in there. But he's definitely going to have to get inside in order to win this fight. And I feel like he probably will be able to get inside. Even though he's lost his last two, that massive power can be an equalizer in this fight. And I'm going to be honest, I predict some shoeies coming after this fight. So I'm taking Tai Tuivasa. Now, Israel Adesanya against Sean Strickland, this is going to be a really interesting one. Just because of the what-if factor. What if Sean Strickland can win this fight? I mean, that would be absolutely insane to have Sean Strickland as the middleweight champion of the world, especially considering the things that he already says. I think, what do you think he's going to say if he wins the belt this Saturday? I can guarantee you it will be some crazy stuff. But we'll get right into it. Now, I'm going to say right now, I feel like this fight is probably going to play out similarly to Alex Pereira against Sean Strickland. I just think Izzy's going to watch a lot of tape. He probably already has. And I guarantee you he's got a game plan. Both guys do, except Sean has said before he does tend to abandon the game plan just to try to brawl with people. And that's definitely not going to work with Izzy. And Izzy, I think, is going to take pointers from how Alex Pereira handled him. Because Sean came in there looking to just box with him. And that turned out really bad for Sean. He got knocked out in the first round. I think Izzy's going to look to throw a lot of leg kicks, a lot of body kicks, just a lot of kicks in general to keep his distance. Now, if Sean can get in and get a takedown, that's where he'll probably be at the biggest advantage that he has in this fight. Which even then, we still haven't seen enough of Izzy to know if he can take Sean on the ground. And I think you just can't discredit what Izzy has done so far. I mean, whether you think he's the greatest middleweight of all time, he is without a doubt one of the all-time greats in the sport. And I think he's going to be able to beat Sean Strickland. While I am low-key rooting for Sean just because it would be so funny, the things that he would say, I feel really confident that Izzy's going to win this fight. So for this fight, I'm going to take Israel Adesanya. And to recap, I'm taking Tyson Pedro, Manel Kape, Justin Tafa, Tai Tuivasa, and Izzy Adesanya. And it looks like that's all I got for y'all. So hit like, subscribe, and all that.